Oh, good morning. Welcome to Let Us Seek the Lord. Today is February 14th, Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. We are today looking at Genesis chapter 47. And let's get busy reading. Then Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, "My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess have come from the land of Canaan, and indeed they're in the land of Goshen." And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers also." And they said to Pharaoh, "We've come to dwell in the land because your servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is so severe in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, please, let your servants dwell in the land of Canaan." And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is all before you. Have your father and brothers dwell in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know any competent men among them, make them chief herdsmen over my livestock." Then Joseph brought his father Jacob and set him before Pharaoh and Jacob. And Pharaoh set him before Pharaoh and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How old are you?" And Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The days of my years of my pilgrimage are over 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage." So Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and he went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph situated his father and his brothers and gave them possession of the land of Egypt, the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Then Jacob provided his father, his brothers, and his father's household with bread according to the number in their families. Now there was no bread in all the land of Egypt, for the famine was very severe. So the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. So when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed." And Joseph said, "Give your livestock, and I will give you bread for your livestock if the money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and flocks, and the cattle of the herds, and for the donkeys, and he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when the year had ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from my lord that our money is gone, my lord. Also our herds and our livestock. There's nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, and both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be the servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed, that we may live and not die, that the land may not be desolate." Then Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. For every man of the Egyptians sold his field because the famine was so severe upon them, and the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into the cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other end. Only the land of the priest he did not buy, for the priest had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh. And they ate their rations which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they didn't sell their lands. Then Jacob said to the people, "Indeed, I have bought you and your land this day for Pharaoh. Look, here's seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own, as seed for the field and for your food, for those of your household, and as food for your little ones." So they said, "You've saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of the Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt to that day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the land of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And when the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now I have found favor in your sight. Please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me back out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place." And he said, "I'll do as you've said." Then he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. So Israel bowed down on the head of the bed. Well, having been part of the evangelical community from my birth, I grew up receiving constant exhortations to be a witness to those around me. If nothing else, I should share my testimony about how good God has been to me. We sang songs like, "Happiness is to know the Savior, living a life within his favor, having a change in my behavior. Happiness is the Lord." Indeed, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And knowing Jesus gives us a different kind of joy than what the world gives. The idea is that people who don't have Jesus would know the joy that we have and want to be drawn to him and want to know him personally. And there is great joy and benefit in knowing him. But consider Jacob's reply when Pharaoh asked him how old he was. "The days of my pilgrimage are 130 years long. Few and evil have been the days and the years of my life. And they've not attained to the days of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage." What kind of testimony is that? Few and evil have been the days of my pilgrimage, the years of my life. Well, at least Jacob's honest for once. He's honest about his life. Most of his days were evil. Consider this. Consider the things that happened in his life. He spent them scheming to advance himself over others, to get his own agenda until he met the Lord at Peniel. In the next 11 years after meeting the Lord at Peniel, he look at the things that happened. His daughter would be raped by Shechem. Jacob's son would ruthlessly avenge their sister Dinah by killing all the men of Shechem. Now he was odious in the sight of the people of Canaan, the Canaanites in the other towns and villages and cities throughout the land. Jacob would lose his favorite wife in childbirth. Jacob would bury his father, Isaac, and finally his favorite son would be deprived of him, and he spent 22 years thinking that he had been torn apart by animals, only to find out later that it was his other sons that sold him into slavery. His oldest son, Reuben, would go to bed with his fourth wife, Bilhah, and the mother of Dan and Naphtali. What do you suppose the relationship was like between those three from that point on? His fourth son, Leah, would get pregnant by his fourth son, Judah, would get his daughter-in-law pregnant. Wow! What a Valentine's Day present that was. Yeah, few and evil were the days and years of Jacob's life. I wonder what Pharaoh went away thinking. I don't think I really want to know this God of Jacob. I'll stick with my polytheism, thank you. Well, anyway, that's an aside. Do you sometimes feel like Jacob? Few and evil are the days of my life. You know, if you truly know Jesus as Lord and Savior, then He is with you. He promised that. All feelings and circumstances aside, He is with you. What a promise! In the good times and the bad, He is with you. The eternal God is with you. What? What could be better than that? Sometimes our best testimony is simply, my God is with me in the good and the bad. He walks with me. He talks with me. And yes, occasionally He whispers to me, I love you too. I'm with you. You're my own. Wow. The God who created all of this is with me. I'm His, and He is mine. Now that's glory. Speak His glory to someone today.